Let's talk about dressing strategies for those kids who have some sensory preferences around clothing. So we all have sensory preferences around clothing. Some of us like loose clothing, some of us like tight clothing. Some of us can't handle wool against our skin. Some of us want to rip our hair out if we have wool on our skin. We all have preferences. But when your child has some sensory defensiveness to the tactile sense, the touch sense, and it has to do with clothing, it is a very real reaction for them. They are going into that fight-flight state when they have something on their body that does not feel well. I know for myself, if you try to put merino wool on me, I don't care how much you say merino wool doesn't have that itchy feeling. I feel it, and I just can't wait to get it off. And if I had to go all day with that feeling on me all day, I don't think I would cope very well in many activities. So the first thing with dressing is respect your child's preferences. If they like soft clothing, then give them soft clothing. If they like tight clothing, then give them tight clothing. So what do I mean by soft clothing? So I'm talking about no seams in things. You know, socks are often very problematic. So look for socks that don't have a toe seam. You can get seamless socks now. Or some kids don't like socks that have tons of padding in them, or maybe have those little non-slip stickers on the bottom of them. They might feel that through their foot, and that might make them feel uncomfortable. So really talk to your child about what they prefer. Some kids cannot stand tags in their shirts, and so remove the tags. Just respect what they're telling you. You can even buy clothing that have stamp tags now, so there is no sensation. But if they don't like that tag, don't make them wear it. Just cut it out, and make sure you cut it out completely so that there's not a little, a hard edge or something bothering them. Some kids don't like logos on their clothing. So if there's a nice pretty picture or a crest of some sort, that sometimes goes right through onto the underside of the shirt, and that can cause a lot of distress and discomfort. So buy clothing that doesn't have big seams, big pictures, heavy, anything like that can cause some discomfort for your child. You also want to think about pockets. Some kids don't even like the sensation of the pocket, and they'll walk around with their pockets pulled out because they just don't like that feeling. So jeans is another thing. Jeans have thick bands, they have buttons and zippers. That might not be something your child's ready to tolerate yet, and you might have to go with more of a track pant, sport pant type, elastic waist that's just a little bit less thick and has less pressure on their tummy area. You want to make sure that you consider your child in terms of how hot and cold they run. So, I find at schools they're always saying, oh, it's cold weather out, you have to have your jackets and you have to have your hats and your mittens. But some children have a super fast metabolism and they run hot. And to put all that clothing on them to go outside and run around makes them sweat to death and is going to make them really uncomfortable. So consider how your child is. If your child's a really cold person and loves to be all warm and snuggly all the time, they're not going to have a problem wearing that big thick jacket. But if your child runs hot, maybe you want to think about getting them a thinner jacket for wintertime, so at least they have a jacket to put on, but it's not something that's going to make them super, super hot. My last strategy is make sure you launder new clothing quite well. You might have to do a couple of washes to get the clothing nice and soft and ready to wear. You might find that your child's always gravitating to those older clothes that don't fit them anymore because they're so worn in and they're super soft. So you might just have to do a few washes, make sure you use the dryer to really soften things up, and there you go. There's some strategies to help you with kids who have some clothing sensitivities.